Everyone and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to focus on another very important topic, which is a predicate functional interface. So before I go ahead and start explaining things about predicate, I will suggest you first go and watch my functional interface video. That is the first thing, and then the previous video that I've uploaded, which is the optional class in Java. So you will get a better understanding of how things are working, but at least functional interface video is a must before you watch this, so that you will understand what functional interface is and how we use that. So predicate is a special functional interface, and that is very commonly used, and also in interviews this is the one of the very famous advanced Java interview questions which is being asked. And I have got this particular question in interviews so many times. So let's understand the functional interface, the predicate especially today. So there are two parts which we are going to see today. In predicate we have two things. The first is the predicate itself is a functional interface, and another one is the bipredicate. Okay, so the main difference between predicate and bipredicate is predicate takes one parameter and it return type is basically whatever the predicate generic will mention, it will return the same type. But predicate has a method, a abstract method, which is a test method, and it returns a boolean. So consider predicate is something like what we call it as general, our terms is like predict. So when we call predict it's something which is going to happen or it is not going to happen. Okay, so basically it's a boolean. Okay, so the similar way we have in Java programming language, we have predicate. So predicate has a single method, a single abstract method, which is test, and it returns a boolean. Okay, the similar with bipredicate. The only difference is bipredicate takes two parameter. So whenever we have a condition where we need to use bipredicate, that point of time we are going to use. We will see that when which one we are going to use. Okay, before I go ahead with the definition of a predicate functional interface, let's understand one thing. Because see, predicate generally we use when we work with the lambda expressions and the stream APIs and all these things. So this particular line is very important for you and for interview purpose as well, and for your personal knowledge also. See, lambda expression we know, I have explained in my previous videos. But lambda expression, you should know that, can access only static variables, instance variables, effectively final method parameters, and effectively final local variables. Okay, so if you look at this particular interface, there are methods which this particular which there are variables which this particular method can use, and which is, see, this play method is a walk. This play method is having one lambda expression, and it is using this walk. So this walk is basically this particular variable, which is what, this is an instance variable. Okay, then this particular play method is accessing this particular baby variable. So this is what, this is effectively final method parameter. What exactly is effectively final? Effectively final is basically nothing but a local variable which never which was assigned a value only once. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, so see, baby will be assigned a value here. That is the only place where it will be assigned a value. Similar to that, we have approach. See, approach is going to be a effectively final local variable. Why? See, in this particular method, this particular approach variable is a local variable. And why it is effectively local? Because the value of this particular local variable is assigned only once, and we are accessing it here. So other than that, whatever else, see, suppose if I'll assign some value of approach here, another value, and if we'll try to access it here, it will give me the compile time error, because lambda does not allow that. Okay, so that was just about the lambda expressions. Now we are going to move ahead and start looking at the predicate in a little deep. Okay, so predicate we generally use when working with filtering or matching some data. Okay, So both are very common operations in our day-to-day real life scenarios as well. And for your interview purpose also, this is very important. When interviewer will ask, when do we generally use the predicate? So we can say that we generally use it when we need a filtering or matching of data. Okay. And a bipredicate is just like a predicate, as I said, and except that it takes two parameters instead of one, omitting any default or static methods. We will come to this default and static method of predicate later point of time. Okay, now let's see how exactly we use this. This is how a functional interface, predicate functional interface looks like. It has a test method, an abstract test. Okay, so we know that in an interface it is by default, and abstract keyword is all by default. Okay, we don't need to mention it. So functional interface by predicates looks something like this. It takes two parameter. Okay, now let's see how exactly we use it. So see, this is how we should use the predicate. Okay, see, we have a predicate of type string, and we have used a p1 reference variable here, is equal to, we are using string, and this particular double colon is what we call as method reference. Okay, so this was introduced in Java 8. Okay, and this you should also remember that method reference was introduced in Java 8, and isEmpty is a method which is already available in a string class. So we are using the method reference to call this particular isEmpty method. So we don't need to use a string dot isEmpty, then the brackets and all. So this is the first line. The same line does the same thing, but it is using the lambda expression. Okay, so predicate of type string p2 is equal to x, and then we are using the lambda expression x dot isEmpty method of the string. Okay, now see, we are calling p1 dot test method. So p1, see, we know that this particular method is returning a predicate of type string. Okay, so if it is returning a predicate, we can apply the test method, because we know that predicate has a method called test. Okay, so it will just check that whatever we are doing is true or false. So it will just return a boolean. So we are passing a empty string, so it will just check that if it is empty or not. In second also it is checking empty or not, so both will return true. Okay, similar way in bipredicate. See, in bipredicate, now see, here starts with is a method which is present in a string, but it takes two parameter. Okay, so that is why we are going to use bipredicate and not the predicate. So these are the places where you should know that where bipredicate and predicate is being used. So when we need a one parameter, in that case we are going to use predicate. When we need two parameters, we are going to use bipredicate. Okay, so some comparison things or something like that. So see, starts with, takes two parameter, and again first line is using the method reference, and second we are using the lambda expression. Okay, see, now in test method we are passing two parameters. So by default, if we are using the test method with two parameters, you should understand that it is a bipredicate. Okay, so this particular b1 and b2 is of type bipredicate, and both of type string. So we are passing the string chicken and chick. So it will just check that chicken is starting with chick or not. So both will again return true. All right, now this was about the predicate and bipredicate. Now there are few things also that you need to know, that only test method is not there in predicate. There are other methods also which we don't much use, but we can use in our real life projects. There are some default methods available, which is negate, and or. And negate is basically something like the negation, which we can say. So it is you can search for this, because we are not going too deep in that, because it is not much important. You just need to know that these things are there. Okay, whenever you need to use this, you can do a little experiment on that, but it is not currently much important for you. Okay, so these three are the default methods which we have, and one static methods also we have, which is predicate is equal. Okay, so it just checks that if particular object is equal to that object or not. Okay, so this is the brief that I'm telling you. So that was all about the predicate and bipredicate. Hope you are able to understand things now in a much clearer way. And if there is any doubt regarding this topic, please feel free to let me know in the comment section. And in the following videos, I'm going to cover the consumer and other functional interfaces like the functions, bifunctions, unary, whatever else is there in this topic. And then we will move ahead with the other important topics after this. So the chain will go on. I will keep on coming with, like, keep on putting the videos which is very very important for your advanced Java interviews. So that is all for today, and thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Thank you.